website on July 29th, 2025. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Cummings, Mrs. Frondor, Mr. Giordano,
Here.
Mrs. Levinko,
Here.
Mrs. Luciano,
Here.
Mr. Metz,
Here.
Mr. Norton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. First, we have Mrs. Aquino with the NJSLA testing presentation.
Do you have a mic for Amelia or no? Or you can use one of these, Amelia. What do you? Oh, I like a handheld. No, I'm just kidding.
I can talk.
I mean, you can, but the people at home won't be able to hear you.
Right. Okay. Until I get back over there. I don't make- So we have compiled, I have invited Mrs. Lamont, our curriculum and VP with us tonight to help with our data presentation from last year's testing scores. They are very small and I apologize for that. But we will be posting them as well. So the NJSLA is our New Jersey Student Learning Assessment. Can you not hear me? Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you. For all students in grades 3 through 8, this state test is administered once a year in the spring. We did do a trial run this year, just this past few weeks, because they're going to a new platform next year, the Department of Ed. Grades 3 through 8 are assessed in both math and ELA. 5 and 8 are also assessed in science. Scores are broken into the following 5 categories: not meeting, partially meeting, approaching, meeting, and exceeding. So we're going to just give you a quick overview of what the data looks like from last year, starting with our ELA performance. So our ELA, is this on?
I love that.
So our ELA performance is, we're happy about our ELA performance. We did increase our scores for language arts. So you can see the light green and dark green. You don't see any dark green here, but the light green and the dark green means that we have meeting and exceeding. So what I've done is I've totaled the numbers on top of the scores for meeting and exceeding. So you'll see grade 3 is 52%, grade 4, 39%, grade 5, 69%, grade 6, 70%, grade 7, 75%, grade 8, 64%, and then all grades combined is 59%. So then what we have here is we're kind of looking at cohorts. So you'll see grade 3, this is their first year test. Obviously this was last year, but grade 3 last year was their first year testing. So they don't have a cohort score. So their score was 52%. Then you can see this is our last year's grade 4 versus their grade 3 score. So the same students, 49%, and their scores did go down to 39%. Then we have grade 4, which was grade 5 last year. They went up significantly, 34% to 69%. I'm standing too close, so I can barely see it. Grade 5, 50% to 70%. Grade 6, 47% to 75%. Grade 7, 68% to 64%. So that's pretty negligible. So for the most part, most of our grades increased. Overall, our scores did increase. 2 years ago, our scores were 50%, and then last year they were 59%. Again, this is meeting or exceeding. We're above the state average last year, 53.6% is the state average, and we're at 59%. So we are happy with our ELA scores. Obviously, we will be continuing to try to increase them, but we were happy with the increase that we had.
And we're happy with the state's high bar for average. I'm kidding.
So then we see the same thing in math. We see the same breakdown. Obviously the light green and the dark green are what we're looking at. We're looking at the meeting and exceeding. 3rd grade, we see 33%, 47%, 37%. Then we get to 6th grade, 91%. 7th grade, 75%. 8th grade is a bit unique because what's happening is we're breaking down the students who take the grade 8 assessment versus the students who are taking the algebra assessment. Overall, generally, our algebra does hit 100%. So what you're seeing here is you're taking out all the students who typically always meet expectations. And so bless you. The rest of the cohort is at 56%. So Math overall for all of our grades is 55%. This is the one where we're considering that we definitely need to put in some work. We did go down this year. The year before it was 59%. Last year it was 55%. We are still above the state average. However, yes. So this is an area where we are going to be putting some of our resources. As you can see, the cohorts, grade 3 to grade 4 went from 65 to 46. So that was lower. 29 to 37, 46 to 91. That's pretty impressive. 59 to 56, which also splits out to the algebra. So you can see that those numbers are kind of skewed a little bit because you're taking out the algebra students. So again, math is kind of where we are. While we are continuing to focus on ELA, math is kind of our biggest focus currently. Then you have our science scores. You can see our science is only tested in grade 5 and 8. So grade 5, 46%, grade 8, 24%, overall 37%. For science, we're not matching the cohorts because it's, slightly different, but we've got in 2000, the previous year it was 55. It did go down to 46 for grade 5. Grade 8 went from 16 to 24. Overall, the state average is 24% in science. There's conversations about whether the test is the issue, whether our science, overall the state science standards are the issue. But there's some type of disconnect here between the assessment and the what's being taught in the classes.
These are difficult to read, and we have to, we're mandated to send them out to you so that you can see them. They're small, and there's just really no way for us to make them any bigger. But we did break out the testing score based on not only the grade level band, but also we have
different subgroups. So we have the math and ELA by race.
Thank you. That's what I was going.
Then we have science. Oh, I'm sorry. It's math, ELA, and science by race. Then by gender. So language arts, math, and science, we will have them by gender.
Math, science.
And again, these slides were sent to all the board members.
And they're being posted.
And they're going to be posted. This is by program. So you're talking about special ed, 504, multilingual students, all free and reduced lunch students. So that's what this is broken out by.
That's all of them.
Again, science. Yep. So then this is some of the interventions that we have been doing or are planning on doing to kind of address any gaps that we're seeing. So we are receiving Title I funds this year. So we have a plan to use our Title I funds for a Huntington math tutoring program, where Huntington will be coming to the school. We've been in talks with Huntington since we got our numbers for Title I. Huntington will be coming to the school. They will provide the tutoring at our school with their program. So they'll assess the kids. They'll kind of fill in any gaps that the students need, and the Title I funds will be paying for it. So what we're doing is we're looking through all the benchmark assessments that we do, the NJSLA, IXL, Linkit, and we're selecting the students that we think would be successful in this program. We're also reviewing our K-5 math program. Currently, as you saw in the scores, the 6, 7, and 8 scores were in math were significantly higher than K-5, or well, not K-5, 3 through 5. So we're kind of reviewing our math program, looking into 5th grade piloting Envisions, which is the program that 6, 7, 8 currently uses, Envisions or other programs. I actually just met with one of our middle school math teachers earlier today, and we talked about how one of the things, instead of maybe not really throwing the baby out with the bathwater, is instead of really changing our programs is building on them. So including spiral review into our math lesson planning, kind of that we're seeing that as an area where pretty much actually both of the programs are kind of lacking. So that's more with math. Continuing the writing NJSLA practice. So one thing we noticed in previous years was that the writing scores were extremely low, and what we did last year that actually did seem to increase our scores was we provided the ELA teachers with sample writing assignments and had the ELA teachers go over them. So they taught them how to do it. They went over the rubrics with them. They graded it based on the NJSLA grades. Then they went over how they graded it with the students. So I don't want to call it teaching to the test, but we're teaching them how to do the writing that's expected from them
And
on the
that test
test.
is changing this
Right.
year. So the state just released a sample website for us to go on so that the teachers and the students become familiar with the way the questions are aligned and how to answer them.
So
We'll be doing
we
that.
will be continuing that with hopefully more updated practice problems. We've also kind of revamped our intervention program where we're adding a lot more push-in support because the push-in support can support more students. So we're including the pull-out support still, but we are adding push-in support overall in as many of the classrooms as possible, because when they're pushing in, when the interventionists are pushing in, they can support any students that are struggling. So that's another. Yes. And then to Mrs. Aquino's point, we are not sure what we're going to see in results in regards to the scores coming next year, because this year the test, we just did our field test. This year the test is going to be adaptive, and there's not really an explanation of how the scores are going to be able to be compared. So next November, when we're looking at the slides, it could be completely different. But
Yep.
we're hoping that there's some type of continuity.
That's it. Thank you. Any questions? Oh, please.
Times, there are wild swings year to year in cohorts. Why?
That is a very difficult question
That
to
is
answer.
a difficult question to answer.
And both ways, like up and down.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
Some of our wildest swings are up. I don't like to blame things on the test, but I mean, when you see wild swings like that, I saw some in Union Township as well. When I looked at their presentation, sometimes it is attributable to maybe the assessment was, not aligned as the same as previous years. There's also, we have very small numbers. So if you look back at our numbers, I don't know, I can't do that. If you look back, one or two students can really swing our scores. So you could have one student who normally does really well, was absent that day and never made the makeups because, they were absent towards the end of the testing. You could have students who were sick and then just didn't score as well. Or you can have students that just had a really great day.
And it's just hard to answer that, just being in our positions right now, because we don't have enough data to really answer why the scores are this way yet.
But a big thing to keep in mind is our low numbers mean that very few students can swing our scores. So one or two students really can swing the scores. So that's a reason that you have big swings.
For sure. And I think one of the things we've been missing from previous administrations is a deeper dive, right? Because we have challenging populations that make a huge impact, whether it's an ESL, special ed. Click-throughs was a big focus in the past. Who's just clicking through the questions and not spending any time. So I feel like if we have the time to drill down a bit more and maybe isolate the gen ed population that maybe doesn't fall into more of the challenging populations, just to see is their progress flatline consistent, because I think some of the wild swings do come from, like you said, a couple students either not doing well, clicking through, not understanding the test, whatever it is.
So one of the things that we had training for our teachers on the day I think it was the day that was the full day professional development, was a presentation with Linkit on kind of test taking, like how to use the questions from the test from Linkit and from the NJSLA practice problems, and kind of really drilling into the questions and how to answer those type of questions. So that is one of the PDs that we did. And that's one of the things that we're talking about is we're kind of focusing in a little on math this year because of the way the scores went. We're talking about with the math teachers with kind of pulling up Linkit questions. Linkit questions have been aligned.
They mirror the test.
The test. So their performance on Linkit should pretty closely, and we are finding that that's accurate, mirror their performance on the NJSLA. So pulling up Linkit questions, I was actually just talking to Ms. Panarelli about this right before this meeting, pulling up Linkit questions and kind of using those as a review before you get to the next Linkit assessment, kind of as just test taking skills, right? And understanding how to do these types of problems. So that's the other thing when I am planning for the Huntington, I'm really looking at all the different benchmarks and seeing where there's students who are kind of just missing it across the board. And we're looking at getting those students the extra support to kind of like bump them up.
And then I guess the other thing is like test scores are so difficult, statistics are so difficult,
Mhm.
but outcome at North and beyond North is super important. So I know we did have, I think, a presentation of how our students do versus the other sending districts, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. I think it's just important to keep that at the forefront so the community can understand our kids are just doing as well as all the other sending districts at North. There's just as many kids taking,
Mhm.
I mean, we have to back it up, but AP and honors and go college readiness and all those things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I would just encourage that we also keep an eye on how do our kids do once
Yeah.
they leave here.
Are we taking a look at looking at the cohorts, the grade 3 to grade 4, that is our combined grade. It looked to me in both, I don't remember on the ELA, but it looked like they went down in both categories pretty significantly. Being
So
that- Go ahead.
that's actually the students who are in fifth grade this year,
Got it. Okay.
because that was the fourth grade last year.
The 3 to 4 that
So
we're looking at
ki-
now is fourth grade from last year.
Just go to one of the, so because this is the 2024-25 scores,
Mhm.
that's last year's scores,
Got it, got it.
that's fourth grade last year. So those students are in fifth grade this year.
Okay. Well, regardless,
Yeah,
that grade
but-
does seem to be quite a bit different than the surrounding grades. Do you take a look at certain populations and make adjustments based on performance, or is it more of a holistic approach to?
We look at the individual, we do look at the individual tests, yes. The evidence, we go through the evidence statements, which are what kind of tell us what standards are, what students are hitting what standards and what standards we're missing. Yes, we go in through and look at all that.
If the teachers look at them too, so they know where they're missing the bar, the students are missing the bar, and where they're exceeding, so they can match the standards to their teachers.
So Linkit provides, so we send this data all to Linkit, and Linkit provides us with kind of disaggregated data. So each grade level that does testing this year went into the school year with a dashboard in Linkit. So Linkit is where we analyze all our data, where we hold all our data that shows their current students. So the students that are in their class right now, their performance on the NJSLA and like what standards they hit and what standards they missed. So that's all within the teacher's grasp to look at that and see. And that's what's the part of the training that we did with Linkit on that full day professional development was kind of the ability to look at those scores and what to take away from them.
Now, is that tracked year over year with teachers that have been here for a duration of, are there any trends there of teachers underperforming, overperforming, whatever the case may be?
How long do they keep the scores for the information for Lincoln? How far back do we know?
I don't know when we started using
We
Linkit.
don't know the answer to that,
Yeah.
but we can find out.
In other words, if there was a teacher underperforming every single year or overperforming every single year, do we have eyes on that somehow systematically?
Yeah, we can look into that.
In sixth grade, the sixth grade math numbers that increased from 46 to 91. Two slides down. Was there anything marketable or different in the way that they took the test? Because that growth from 46 to 91 seems like
right here.
a statistical improbability. So I guess the question is like, does every kid take the test at once? Do they take it all the way through? Are there some grades that are breaking it up by
They all-
doing it? You gotta forgive me because I don't know
No.
the test.
We set the schedule.
We set the schedule. They're all taking that math test at the same time.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With that, was there a new book that's being used in that? Is there a new teacher? Is there?
So I will say this is what I was talking about with the math programs. Sixth grade is where we start using Envision. So we use K through 5, or grades K through 5. We use a program called Big Ideas.
Okay,
And sixth grade is where we start using Envision.
so it could be a curriculum fall
Right.
from 3rd through 5.
And so as I've mentioned a couple of times, I was talking to our math teacher about this. The reason the Envision was selected before I was a curriculum coordinator, but the reason Envision was selected is because they are, it's made by the same company, Pearson, who would previously had the contract for NJSLA.
Oh, I see.
So the thought was that they were going to be very closely aligned to the assessment. It appears that while I mean, our middle school math teachers, they are specialized, they are math teachers, they're not anything else, like that's what they're specialized in. And I don't want to take anything away from them. They're excellent teachers, but also I think that that does play part of a role in it, that this curriculum is different than the other curriculum.
What's the type of curriculum that's used in 3rd through 5th?
It's the type of the name.
The name.
It's big ideas.
But it's different than.
Different than 6, 7, 8.
And how long have we been using big ideas?
Big ideas, I would say, is 4 or 5 years.
So we have a pretty good sample size of the curriculum effect.
Yes.
Okay.
So now, one of the things that we were talking about was the possibility of piloting Envision for 5th grade. We're going to look into that, but knowing that part of the reason that we're using Envision was the alignment with Pearson. Pearson is no longer the provider of the NJSLA, so we're just we're looking at all angles now. So we're going to look at everything, which is why one of the things I mentioned was, instead of kind of getting rid of a math program, looking at what we need to add to the math, because every math program is going to be missing something, right? So instead of thinking, hey, we're going to try and look into a whole new math program, possibly looking into what we have and saying, hey, like, we just need to add spiral review to this, and then supplementing what we currently have. Since we already know it, and we know what it's missing. Any new program you get, it's going to be different, but they're all going to miss something. They're all going to miss something.
By a new company.
Mm-hmm.
And the 6th grade teacher is fantastic. But I don't just one of the answers out for you.
Yes, our middle school math teachers are both fantastic.
Good.
Yes.
So the follow up to something that you stated about the new test system, right? So this path that we've been building of being able to grade our progress, essentially the states control deleting that for us to start over a new 1-year sample size.
I feel like they're going to give us some type of guidance on how it's aligned.
Like a math formula or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're going to say something. I don't know what it's going to really mean in the long run, but the difference is this test is static. Like, they all get the same test. They do the test. There's like 2 different blueprints, and one group gets like these questions, the other group gets these questions, but they're all aligned. The new test is adaptive.
Like LinkedIn, like
LinkedIn. I'm sorry, not LinkedIn, IXL.
IXL.
IXL is adaptive. So if you've ever done it with your child at home, you might see that they're starting to get harder and harder questions as they go along. So or easier questions. That's what the new adaptive assessment is going to be like. So
we can all agree that changing it around is kind of dumb, right?
They were the lowest bidder.
No, you know what I'm saying? It's just as far as data collection.
Yes.
It makes no sense to change an entire. It would make more sense to add another test and keep the path. That's not you guys.
I think they're going to try and say that the scores will align.
A lot.
They're going to try and
Be
say,
in par with each other. So to
yeah,
speak.
sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
fair enough.
it's hard to say an adaptive test
We're
is going
getting
to.
very little from the DOE right now. Everybody is, not just us. All districts are getting very little.
The field
Little
test,
by little.
I mean, up until the dates that we were starting, we were still getting like the manual, like nothing was out really ahead of time. So
Yep.
we're not expecting too much information.
Because so is the DOE, because they're just turning it over.
Could I ask just one from each of you? What do you find to be the most interesting thing about these numbers? Positive or negative?
Are you talking specifically math or?
You do math, you pick any lane you want. I'm just trying to find what do you guys, what do you kind of shriek back at, or what do you lean into, which, just by the raw data that you guys have been seeing?
So my biggest takeaway here was the 6, 7, 8 being significantly higher than the other grade levels, which is why I'm trying to figure that out. If it is the program, if it's the teachers, if it's the just the way the test is. So that's one that I think that's useful information to us, because I think we're going to be able to use this information to improve the other numbers.
Could I ask a professional opinion for your question? Could it be the learning environments in those classrooms?
Um,
I'm just
It could be
for a
anything.
pitch. Yeah, I'm just trying to
I mean,
hone in
there's no
on
measure
something.
to that. but
Gotcha.
It could be anything. I think for me, when I came on, I know the issue was writing.
Mhm.
And I think we've tried to tackle that in as many ways as we possibly could in the classroom as far as having our students write more. So I'm happy to report that that has been happening and there has been more writing going on. So just from the short window that I've been here, the writing was an issue when I first walked in, and I think that's what we hit the ground running with on some of the issues. So I have seen improvement there.
And there's an impact on it according to the
Mhm.
numbers that the ELA has gone up,
Mhm.
Yep.
which is,
it's good.
And because we have great teachers.
now you're getting it. There it is.
Just so we can kind of tell what the algebra in grade 8 is, how many algebra students are there versus grade 8? You have any idea? Was it?
I'm gonna give the numbers for this year because I know
Sure.
the numbers for this year. There's about 7 algebra students.
Versus how many in grade 8? 30-ish?
No,
17. Thanks, Jen.
I was trying to do the math in my head there.
We're not math teachers.
Yeah.
Either. Thank you. 17 right.
Okay, so that's about a quarter of the population. So that would bring grade 8 up a lot.
Yeah.
So speaking to or teaching towards the test.
Well, we don't really like to say that.
I
We like to say that we
completely-
try to prepare our students.
Absolutely.
Right.
Unfortunately, CUSAC is based on teaching
Yes.
towards the test,
Mhm.
which I think a lot of us could say is a waste of time.
Mhm.
So how indicative do y'all think these scores are of our students' actual comprehension of ELA, math, and science?
Easy one.
Science, I would say not at all.
Agree.
That's an easy one
Agreed.
to start with.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
math, I was very surprised by the 3rd grade numbers. So I'm gonna say they're relatively indicative, but I think when you see those giant swings, I think you're looking at 1 or 2 students that are causing the giant swings. And in that case, I think they're indicative because we think in each grade level, we've got, some students who are going to cause either really increased scores or really decreased scores. I think in general, they're relatively indicative, in my opinion.
Remember, our numbers are so small, like our, grade level numbers are so small that it just takes, like Amelia said, 1 or 2 kids to swing the numbers. I mean, when you have 17 kids in a grade level or 23 in a grade level, it could swing either way.
Well, that makes sense in the 8th grade numbers, right? Because they have 17, but once you get into 3rd grade and 4th grade, aren't we
A
talking
little bit more.
20
Yep.
in the
Yep.
high 20s,
But I mean, you're
low
still,
30s?
I don't think we're
Fair,
talking
what you're saying,
high
fair,
20s
yeah.
anywhere.
If you have 3 kids of 30
We're definitely not
students,
high 20s.
if it's 3 kids of 30 students, you have 10% of your class
Right.
got,
Yeah.
that totally makes sense. But their numbers would have to be dang near zeros to make huge, again, incremental swings between
Well,
5 to 7%.
we're talking about the percent of students who are meeting.
Gotcha.
So like whether it's a 0 or not a 0, what if it's a
Oh, I
not
hear what you're saying.
meeting
That's a fair point. Gotcha.
versus,
Gotcha.
so we're not
Your
talking.
this is the
Yes.
percentages of the top of,
Yes,
of the achievers, let's say.
right. So once you're out of meeting or exceeding, then you're not in this percentage anymore. So it's based on like the number
I
of
didn't think of it
students
that
who are
way.
meeting or proceeding.
So
meeting
you
or
could
exceeding.
say that for 3rd grade, 77% aren't achieving by,
Yes.
in the inverse of the numbers. so to
correct.
speak.
But you can also see do you want to go back to the graph?
Which one?
Math.
No, that's not.
There-
Two
one.
back, two back.
Right there. But so you can see in 3rd grade,
Yeah.
right? So these students, this is the partially meeting. So like
The orange
is the partially meeting. So those are our largest
12.
group there. So, right. So 3rd grade was really struggling. It's not even the approaching group. So even if these approaching students were added in, it still wouldn't be
Fair
a
enough.
great score. But again, this is our goal here, math.
100%.
Does CUSAC adjust for state average at all? in,
I don't know their exact calculations, but we have a whole calculation page for how they get those numbers. And it's not, I don't know whether it adjusts for state, how it adjusts for state average, but they have, they change.
okay.
I'd have to look back at the manual.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to board action, if we can get a motion to approve A and B, approval of the minutes and the CUSAC performance review self-assessment. And a second. Second. Matt. All right, all in favor? Any abstention, or no? All opposed? Any abstentions? Passes. Okay, school business administrator report.
The items on the agenda tonight, the acceptance of the October financial reports, the transfers for October 25, the bill list for October 25, and the use of facilities, the 4 normal ones that we go through every month. There's a resolution to approve support for the human resource responsibilities. We have a vacant position. We have not been able to fill it. So we're utilizing the commission to provide us with some support throughout the week in order to keep that side of the organization moving. Letter F and G, approval of architectural professional services to the DRG architects. One of them is for the to evaluate the brick facade and the foundation cracks. That will then provide a report to us as to what needs to be done. And then the next step would be, if we decide to move forward with correcting it and going through a bidding process to get that work done. And then the other one relates to the elevator. Elevator has not been working. Had a couple of companies come out. They agree it needs to be overhauled. The issue running into is there is no co-op to do that work. So therefore, we're going to have to do a bid. So bid specs have to be written, and the architectural services will be able to analyze what needs to be done and then write the bid specs, and we can go out to bid on fixing the elevator. The current projections for revenue and expenditures through June 30th are looking good. And that ends my report. Anybody have any questions for me?
I just had one question. The repair of the front steps, did that go to architect to go out to bid or no?
The front steps is a donation from,
It's a donation.
Okay.
Right. Venus Tile. So we didn't need an architect.
I have a
then.
meeting with them because they also are the ones who won the bid for the restrooms. I have a meeting with them tomorrow at 9:30. I was going to ask him where he is with that. He did indicate he would have that done sometime at the end of October, and it's now November. So I'd like to get more of a response from him.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just a little bit more on top of that question. Even though it's being donated, the oversight of that project is being managed by whom?
The oversight
Yeah, the oversight of the project to ensure that it's
will
done.
be over by me, myself.
So you're project managing that all by yourself? Okay. We haven't given you enough jobs yet?
I'm sorry?
I thought maybe this might be a bigger job than what, okay.
Well, let me say it this way. I'm also overseeing the
Oh,
bathroom.
the rest of them. No, I know. I was just wondering if anyone was going to give you relief or if you were the ones to do this
I'm
one as
more than
well.
happy to get you to come in.
The reason none of that's going to bid right is that those concrete projects are donations. The front
The
step
front
and the
step
side step,
is-
those
yeah.
are, so we don't have to do the regular processes because someone's giving them to us.
Yeah, the
But we
donation.
still have to go
the-
through the permits and stuff
Permits
like
and
that.
stuff, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it doesn't require a GC because the guys we're hiring are handling it.
He is a GC.
Are they doing a full tear down of the steps and the retaining wall, or are they coating over top of it?
That's,
You'll know at
That's-
9:31 tomorrow.
that's, yes.
Gotcha.
The communication between us and him is slow going.
There's a
How long did it
contractor,
take to
no
get
offense.
to get something in writing from him? But again, tomorrow I have a meeting with him and hopefully we'll get all this straightened out.
Copy that.
Thank you.
Cute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I ask one more question? Is there a world where what happens if we have the architectural professional tells us about the elevator and it's over 200K? What happens in that situation? It's more of an edification question.
Well, I had companies come in and they appear to be at or just below 200.
Copy that.
So I'm hoping that this process will not cause a bigger problem.
But I just, maybe just for procedural ends, what
But
happens
if we
that
were
goes
sure, we would have to see if there were funds to add to it, which we would be allowed,
out of reserves?
out of breakage that we have.
Gotcha.
Is that question more general?
That's more of a general, I'm
Yeah.
not hoping that happens at all.
You chose elevator, but like question in general, if we were to exceed,
I mean, you could,
or
we're getting into a different
specifically
subject, but like
concerned
say,
about the
stay
elevator?
with the
'Cause
bond, let's use one of the bond projects, say the nurse's office, right? And we put, I'll make up numbers, $10,000 towards that. What if the bids for those come back over $10,000?
Right, now that's totally,
Different subject, different lane.
totally different answer.
Copy that.
You can't, the total amount of the capital projects that the bond referendum supported can't exceed the amount of the bond referendum.
That was voted on.
Or there's a process that is not like if it were the elevators, which is in the general fund.
And that process would take a bit to explain, I would imagine.
Yeah, sometimes you might have to do, what's the phrase? Architect, engineer, no, what you do, you kind of downsize certain things in order to come in within the.
You
budget.
shrink the scope of the project to come
Scope
within the,
Or specific things that might have been more of a
no gold
luxury.
lining, you change it from
Yeah,
that. I
and you
gotcha.
can't come in above it.
Understood. Thank you.
And Chief School Administrator report.
We would put you in the elevator to see if it works. We'll use you.
We
as-
test drove my Aunt Kathy.
I'll sign, I'll sign
Doing
up for
great.
viewing privileges in that
And then sell
situation.
tickets. We'll make tons of money. See
Yes.
if
I just want to make sure I
Makes
get,
it to
I
the
get the
next level.
pre-sale option, right?
This may surprise you, but I don't do well in confined locations.
Oh.
Even better,
Okay,
better
fair.
pre-sale options.
As we mentioned earlier, our field tests for NJSLA went well. We hopefully worked out all the kinks and are ready for this spring administration. Our parent-teacher conferences, I believe, were a success. I haven't heard any negative feedback otherwise. And our drill report is listed. Short and sweet today.
For my report, I just want to say thank you to specifically Mrs. Aquino, Mrs. Lamont, the entire committee, CUSAC committee, Mr. Kramer, Nurse Teitelbaum, Ms. St. Laurent, Ms. Panarelli, Mr. Abramovitz, Ms. Huber, because I know that took a lot of time to complete this, was it 26-page, single-space self-assessment for CUSAC, which this only occurs every 3 years and has a major impact on the district. So thank you for all of administration's efforts in getting that put together. Thank you. Building inspection will be in February, correct? Aroundish?
They came in already for the building. They did facilities already.
Yes,
They will do the rest of that document. That's just the first piece of CUSAC, and then we have to go back and get all the evidence statements to support how we scored ourselves on the DPR and upload them and send them to the county. And then they come February 11th, I believe the date is February 11th. Is that when they're coming? February 11th sounds good. That's when I think they're coming.
so they did come in for the facilities, and I just want to also say we passed.
We passed.
Yeah, did you say that?
I didn't say we passed.
I want to make sure.
Thank you.
we know we passed.
Okay. And okay, moving on to public comment. All comments should be directed to the board president. The board will not respond to complaints from and to school personnel unless the chain of command has been followed without satisfaction. Furthermore, the board cannot respond to any complaints from the public directed at any district employee or student, as the board must protect each employee's and each student's right to privacy. Those wishing to share comments during this portion of the meeting are asked to sign the register at the podium and state their name, place of residence, and group affiliation if applicable. Public comment shall be concise and to the point and shall not contain abusive, defamatory, or obscene language. Each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes. Public comment? No? Okay. Moving on to finance and facilities. We met on November 13th, last Thursday. We had a very productive meeting with H2M and the project engineer for the parking lot project. They answered a lot of our questions that we had not received answers to this entire year. But I think that the project manager's overview of our property, saying that the site is very constrained, is the best way to explain how we are dealing with what we're dealing with regarding the parking lot expansion, maximizing our property in the most economical way. I've alluded to it previously, but the committee has brainstormed as much as possible and tried to get as creative as possible as far as how we can add parking, remove cars from the street, increase safety. But this property, there are a lot of things that we have to work around. So just to give an overview of what we took away from the meeting, when the school expanded in 2014, the DEP issued permits for various uses of the different parts of our property. So our property expands from Quakertown Road, from the residential line to the next residential line, back past the stream, past the solar fields, past the ball fields. So we have a large amount of geographic land that we're working with. We do not have a large amount that we can actually build on and do anything with. So April 22nd, 2014, the DEP defined a conservation restriction line and recorded it in a deed with the township. This includes a riparian zone of 300 feet on either side of the river that we cannot touch. There are wetlands and conservation lines that we have to draw around. There are areas that are restricted that are only allowed for lawn. We have to account for septic tank, things like that. Around the solar fields, there are areas that are only allowed to be used for maintenance for the solar field. So if we attempted to build on any part of our property beyond essentially where we have been looking so far, that would require a new application process to the DEP, which extends the amount of time enormously, increases our costs, and there is absolutely no guarantee that that would be successful if we applied to try to be creative in any way other than how we are currently planning on constructing the new parking lot. With what we do have the actual survey with the numbers almost finalized. We're getting there. This will include a new underground drainage pond that will drain to the river, away from our neighbor and down to the river. Increases our parking spaces by 35, has the ability to queue 40 cars on property plus 3 to 4 cars dropping off. So we have 40 to 44 cars off of Quakertown Road, which the county will be very happy about. So I'm sure our neighbors will too. They have planned for adequate drainage from the new drainage pond to the type of asphalt they're using. Everything has been accounted for as much as they explain that they can. And they plan to present to the public on December 21st with all of the specifics for the new parking lot. Mr. Kramer just noted that for the pre-K restrooms and the nurses suite, the kickoff meetings tomorrow morning. And the fitness station, I believe, is complete.
Yep.
So fitness station is complete and done off of our list. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think you said December 31 because that was what was in my,
December 21?
but our board meeting is December 22nd, if I'm not
Is it
mistaken.
22nd? So the December board meeting.
Yeah, they'll be, the architects will be presenting at the December 22nd meeting, which will all agree with what is going to be submitted in the specifications for bidding.
Perfect.
And,
And they will be able to take and answer questions from the public?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
should we be moving on a vote like that with a new board coming in January? Should we make that presentation in January with the 3 new board members? If they're going to be the ones who are technically going to be overseeing it going forward.
They can attend the meeting and see it. There's
Like
nothing that
what?
we're not, I mean, because we're voting to approve or we're not voting.
Did you just say we're voting to-
We're agreeing with what the plan says. There's no vote on the plan. We want to make sure the board is understanding what we're going out to bid for, let the public hear what we're going out to bid for, and get a consensus is that that's what we were, what we want.
I'd say the previous statement wouldn't make more sense to have that presentation done in front of the new board who will have voting power. and
There's no
oversee-
vote. So let me say this, they could be here tonight, they could be here on the 22nd, they could give their input. But after we decide that we're moving forward on the 22nd, doesn't matter if they're on the board or not.
What's the agreement you're seeking then?
And we want to make sure there's an understanding as to what it is we're getting before it goes out to bid.
I feel like we're circling back. I would still say for a project this size, for these, it would make more sense if they're coming to present in person, to present the first meeting of the next board that has 3 new members who will be part of the process moving forward.
Oh,
It's just my suggestion.
let me ask a clarifying question. Is the vote that we would take next month a binding decision, or is it?
There
No,
is no
no,
vote.
agreed.
There's no vote.
Then, no, I have to disagree with you.
Totally
There's-
fair.
If you were making a binding decision in December with a lame duck board of 3 out of 7, I would back you up 100%. But if what we are saying is that we are agreeing that a presentation can be made in December on a recorded meeting that anyone can watch or anyone can come to, that's where I would gleefully back you up if we were making a binding decision in December to bind a board that 3 of those people aren't here. to
There's no vote.
have
I
part.
agree on that. What's the agreement? What are we maybe it's the wrong terminology. What are we agreeing
So
to
at the
for
last,
them to go to bid?
no,
Okay.
not at all. No. At the last board meeting and our finance committee, they reviewed what the plan is that we're trying to come to an agreement with as to what should be part of the bid specifications.
Gotcha. When would the bid specifications happen?
I'm hoping they're out beginning of January.
I feel like we're saying the same things here. If we're agreeing on the bid specifications for what will be coming out in January, wouldn't it make more sense to make that presentation in front of the new board who will be part of the processes moving forward?
The binding vote will be in 2026, correct?
Say that again.
Like any binding votes to final decisions would be in 2026. Is that correct?
There is,
Any
there's no
final-
more voting.
It's already been voted on.
Except when we accept the bids, or when we accept the bid, that's the next vote.
If it's just a matter of presentation, then I don't know where we're winning or losing.
That they should just come to the meeting, watch it like us, ask questions like us. We're not going to change the course of anything, whether you're sitting here or you're sitting there.
Okay. I disagree, but please proceed.
Okay,
We
can I get a
don't
motion?
have a vote where anyone new is going to be able to slow this
When's the
down.
next time H2M will be coming here to present to the board, to have a meeting with them? My point is,
December 22nd,
if that's limited, if there's a limited amount of time that they're coming again January.
December 22nd.
When's the next time they come to talk to the board? The whole board?
I'm anticipating not much.
Not much.
That would be it, because I'm expecting
Okay,
But it's a talk to, it's not a vote, it's not a decision, it's a talk to. Right? Am I
I thought
crazy?
agreements to the specifications for bidding are what's going to be discussed and presented at that. Are we going back for it? Maybe it's me. I'm confused.
There is no board action that is needed. It's going to be saying, board, this is what the plan is. Please give us comments. We've been commenting. They've been making adjustments. We're very close to agreeing with this board.
And everyone's comfortable making that final agreement or that final spec to go into bids.
I am
With-
very comfortable making presentations to the community, including the new members of the board. If there were voting action, they were gonna have an opportunity to miss out on, that would be different. But if there's no voting action, if the wheels are already in motion and it's just a matter of you either watch it or you don't, I feel like there's a differentiation there.
No, 'cause
It's
the
a little
survey's
modified
included.
because of the committee meeting that we had.
It's a presentation of new information, right? I do have a different question. Caroline, you mentioned that there was going to be a redirection of water to an underground drainage pond. Ooh, words hard. And that wasn't anticipated to require DEP approval?
No, it's not, because it's already within the zone that DEP has granted that we can build on. So we don't need any.
So we're
further-
allowed to redirect water that way.
From
To
our
what
parking lot.
extent are we allowed to redirect water in that direction before they have to at some point care that we won't create a river?
Coming from the project manager, what they have already planned out requires no further permitting.
Because we're sticking with it, if I may add. You gotta forgive me, when did they do the extension for the school?
2014,
So in 2014, the best way of saying it was when they got the permits and the DA approval for those things, they cut the campus in half. So, right, is that the way we were talking about it? So you have the front end, or let's call it, what's that?
maybe like,
Oh, they cut it in like,
maybe a third.
half is a bad word. It's more of a third or a
Yeah.
fifth. The front end of the campus that the school actually exists on. Up and beyond that, I'll make something up right now. Of what we already have built, we have about 20 feet of extension. Once we go beyond that 20 feet, then we start getting into DEP regulation problems. But because of the way they drew the lines for the 2014 project, we can expand to what those were permitted by the DEP 11 years ago.
And how much water are we just allowed to throw down the pipeline? Like, I don't mean to be rude,
It
but
can
like
accommodate up
question.
to 1 inch per hour.
1 inch per hour.
That's what we have, that's what it has to, for the new impermeable that we're putting down, that's what the flow rate has to be. But from what I can gather about it, DEP will have very little to do with this if we stay within the parameters of the school's property currently, or stay within the parameters. And again, we should present that and show it, because there are 3 different levels of DEP protections. So we can move into the level 1. I forget, there was a term he used, and you got to forgive me. We're actually encroaching into that, but we're not getting into the 2nd level, which would activate the DEP having to approve it.
Encroaching into that based on total water diversion?
Based on location and land that we're acquiring. But no, I see what you're stabbing at. It defies logic that we would be pouring so much more water into this wetlands and DEP not to be involved in it. But the reality of it, with what the board can do and with how these plans are drawn out, we can do just that. But in addition to that, that water drains out into the wetlands already, because it collects within the ground basin out front. Once that gets filled out, then it slowly starts leaching out to that way anyway. What Caroline's describing is kind of a new container for it to fall into, and a new pipe that drains it out into the water area, into the wetland area.
Okay, and I started to draw myself a little map, but if we were to hit a point where water pulled up, what would be the first of our assets that would be encroached by that water?
That would be an opinion
Based
question.
on
If
where
there's a
based
problem
on
with the,
where the pool is expected to go.
that's a layered question. I don't know if we're experienced enough to say that.
That's fine.
Geographically, it would be the neighbor's property. It would dump,
Well,
Near
let's
the
let
direct-
H2M answer that next month.
well, I'm just saying,
'Cause I don't know.
but by
I can reserve
altitude,
that.
by the ground level,
Mhm.
it would naturally, it already naturally flows in that direction.
Well,
So-
we have curbs that are being installed to prevent it from flowing that direction.
Correct. Oh, 100%. But her say is if something went wrong, what would be the first water impact? Is that what
Yeah,
you were asking? And my guess would be
exactly.
the neighbor, not
If
the
it, if
school.
it were to go wrong, and if we were to, Hurricane Sandy isn't gonna hit this area again. But let's just say everything goes wrong. Where's the first place that
That
water
is
is
a
gonna
fair
dump
question
into?
when they get back here, but I will say, not only are they utilizing the system that exists out there, that was an
Mhm.
extensive system that was installed. There's, you'll see on the plans, there's a lot of consideration given to what are the barrel system.
The way that, if I could jump on it, the way that they explained it was the bulk of the expense
Yeah.
for this parking lot is going into the water management systems. And that's not because of any sort of unique planning. That's the cost of this type of stuff, which you say it went up, or he say went up 50%
Yeah,
over the
50%.
past 2-3 years alone. So again, if we're talking $1.2 million of parking lot we're building, 600,000 plus is because, is for the water management system to replace the basin.
Yeah, the DEP rules changed in 2023, resulting in an increase of 50% higher costs for these projects.
So yeah, it could be also, it's a timing thing, which makes this cost even more.
I think like in the committee meetings, our primary concern has been that neighbor, and so we're well aware of that, and that's, we don't want to see anything happen there. And I think at this point, they've adequately answered our concerns as much as possible. But I definitely would encourage those questions when they get here next month.
Yeah, the addition, just to add to what he's saying, there's two different ways they were trying to approach the water flow. So they're gonna add two drainage vents on that west side parking lot near the neighbors. And then there's going to be a perimeter of, I'll call it
Vegetation.
ultra permeable.
The asphalt.
Yeah, there's gonna be what is equivalent of 1 foot to 2 feet of permeable. It's a different type of asphalt that runs around the perimeter of what we're building. And the effect of it is similar to a French drain in your basement. And those are the massive costs of the project is water. It's water management.
There is to some degree some berm and plantings over on that side as well.
Yeah, that was we brought that up. Also, just beautification in addition.
Vegetative hedge.
Oh, nice. That was the flowery word they used for bushes. Yeah. Yeah.
Vegetative hedge, it's going in my lexicon.
Okay. So if there's no more questions, if we can get a motion to approve A through G under finance and facilities.
I did have one final question. I'm sorry, I didn't ask it and I asked other questions. DRG is mentioned as an architecture group. Is that a strategic change for these projects only or a larger change from H2M?
We have two architect of records,
Mhm.
H2M and DRG.
So DRG we've been maintaining, but we haven't talked about as much this year.
There was no projects that we needed to move forward with them on. This
Okay.
is the first time.
Can you educate me on what the difference is on when we choose H2M or DRG? And this is pure ignorance on my part. I probably should be more
That's
educated.
fine. I'm gonna
And Mark
didn't want to be
gets
heard.
another Caroline reminder for the microphone. You're gonna miss her. You really are.
The board has shown, these are my words, a lack of, how am I saying it?
Well,
Yeah.
it's in the H2M, and so that's why we're moving forward with all the capital projects, because we started with H2M.
Mhm.
But there is another architect that he's worked with at Clinton, correct?
Correct.
That he had good experiences with, and so we wanted to try DRG for these projects.
there's no additional cost to having multiple architects on record. And the way that I would say it is that we're passing the ball around to different wide receivers because H2M is going to be so busy with this $2.8 million that we want to have that these, I wouldn't call them smaller projects, but we'll call them research projects or
You could say
information grabbing projects.
Evaluate.
Yeah, so just to bring in a different squad of people, so we're not task saturating our architects.
And compare.
Because H2M did, it's my understanding, H2M did the analysis years ago that is the basis for our long-term facility plan. So that's where our capital projects came from. So H2M has already come in and kind of done an assessment a few years ago, but they've done their assessment. So we want to bring DRG in so that we can get their perspective as well.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because as we start attacking LRP projects, we can get evaluations done by that architect company, then we have 2 or 3 different materials to reference because community members have asked in the past to see if we got multiple people brought in. So that's the idea, to have our utility infielder we can send in for these other projects.
And if I may, at the committee, we also were discussing the idea of having a third architect of record, which administration will be looking into.
Thank you all. I really do appreciate it. If I didn't know it, I assume others didn't know it. So I really do appreciate the breakdown and the benefit to the community as well. As I wasn't aware that we were considering a third architect, but I'm not opposed whatsoever. I appreciate that. Outside of that, I don't have any questions. Sorry to hold everyone up, but I just,
Did I get, you had the motion? So moved. And then a second?
I'll second.
We can get a roll call vote for A through G.
Mrs. Cummins,
yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Mrs. Luciano,
Yes.
Mr. Metz,
Yes.
Mr. Norton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lulinko,
Yes.
Cassie.
Thank you. Curriculum and education.
We have a few items for the board's approval. We have a few professional day requests. We do not have any field trips at this month. We have an educational service asking for student tuition that we are sending. We are trying our best to start 2 new programs at some point this year, hopefully in the winter, a preschool ICR program and an autism program. And we had linked both of those programs there for you to read. And lastly, we received a phone call from the Holland superintendent that they would like to send one of their students to us on the tuition base.
I have a question about that without touching on the student's particular private needs. Why are we taking a general education student from another district?
There has been some bullying issues towards this student, enough where the student doesn't want to go to school there anymore. So that school district is looking for a safe place for that student to go, and they called us.
That's heartbreaking.
Being that we're not a choice district
We
anymore,
are not.
how are we accepting another district sending a
Because
student
it's
here?
a tuition based.
Yeah, but the
Tuition-based.
tuition would have to be paid now by the parents if it's if we're not a choice district. Doesn't it says the Board of Education, doesn't say the parents. So that's my question. Like if parents are paying, we do have a tuition program, but it says the Board of Education is paying us, which to me is a choice situation.
And I want to be really careful about taking students from other districts from a cost perspective, as long as I want to be careful here. I'm not gonna be, I don't want to say too much because I don't want it to come across incorrectly, but be really careful taking students from other districts when we are sitting in a position that we are in financially, not knowing the future potential cost of maintaining that student.
I guess just to be more transparent, because my question will be more direct. If this student is coming in as a gen ed and they develop an IEP or special needs, who has to pay for those costs. Is
That's
that
more
us?
direct, but that's getting at what
I
I'm
mean, that's the
asking.
heart of it.
No, I mean, and thank you for asking.
Who's they,
it
the
that way.
parents?
The parents. The district. Is it the parents, Mark? It's,
The-
what was the
The
contract?
the contract is to receive one general ed student. If that changes to a special ed student, that contract should become null and void because it's not for a special ed student.
Are
So you
we
become
legally,
special ed
are we
when you get an
legally
IEP and a
protected?
504? Aren't you still a gen ed student? Forgive me, I'm not, I don't
No,
know.
you would move, if you got an IEP, you would move into the
You would
special
be
education.
considered a special, once you have an IEP, not a 504. Copy that.
Are we legally protected to continue to increase tuition costs based on student educational needs if those educational needs grow over time?
For that student,
Yes.
that student's gonna be placed in a general education program. Whatever any of our other students get, that student will get and no more.
Okay.
If those
And if they
changes-
need more, then those changes would necessitate an increase in cost,
A change of contract.
change of
Yes.
contract and influx of additional costs to cover those students' needs over time.
That would be a different contract.
Okay.
If we decide to keep them with those additional, then the board could decide, yes, let's charge them for the para, for the PT, OT, ST. But that's not included in this contract. It's only for him, the student, to be placed in a gen ed environment, 7th grade with everybody else. Not getting more, not getting less.
What's
Okay.
the length of the contract?
June 30th, 7th grader who.
7th grade to, it would be year over year or
There would be a new
academic life?
contract next year. If we decide to keep them, there would be a new contract next year for the 8th grade.
Okay.
Welcome him or her, right? Yeah.
I just want to be like certain that we're not crossing a line where it looks like we're accepting choice students now. Because I thought if it was a parent tuition, the parent would pay us. So the way it's worded, it says we're signing a contract not with parents, but the Holland Township Board of Ed.
We're gonna have a send-receive relationship with Holland for one student. That's not a choice. That's not a choice program.
It falls out, yeah, that falls outside of
I assume
the
it's
state of New
defined in the
Jersey's
contract
choice.
that the parent is
Yeah.
the liable party for any finances, not,
No, Holland is
and so then the parent's gonna pay Holland.
Holland is responsible for the education of the student.
Mhm.
Holland wants to do something for that student for specific reasons and asked if we would take them. So Holland is responsible and we're gonna be the ones who will be doing the educating. Am I saying that right?
So it's not the
Yes.
parent
Yeah, no,
choosing the Holland Township is sponsoring the student to come here to get them out of extreme bullying situation. It's a bit different than a parent just saying, I decide my kid should go to a different school.
Correct. It's the district. that
Okay, the
is-
district is making the
is making
decision
the
to
decision,
remove the
and
child.
parents
Yes.
are agreeing
Okay.
with it.
Okay, thank you.
Jen, you said the parents are agreeing. You've spoken with the superintendent.
Yes.
And the parents are agreeing to this.
Yes.
This is a desire of the parents.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It's a revenue source for a kid that seems like he needs a place to back. I would say it strikes me as a win-win.
It'll be a zero-sum game. We're not getting enough money. It's a revenue builder.
We said 28K?
Oh, that's not a revenue builder.
26.
That's-
6, I mean,
That's,
it's more than
that-
our lemonade stand makes.
that's state derived. There's a state law that dictates what we can charge per student. That is a state derived cost per student that
Is there
it
ways
does
for
not
us?
exceed what our revenue sources are. We're not making money on that.
We wouldn't be making money off the 28K that's.
We're
coming
not
in?
making
Isn't
money
that the rate
on
of the student?
26K.
Are we making money?
Ma-
It's all,
Well,
it's
when you say it
offsetting-
that way, Mark,
I like
I
saying
mean,
it's offsetting expenditures.
expenditures for that
Is
student.
that right?
Is there ways for us to sign up for more of these types of IDs?
No,
So do you want to actually, on that note, do you want to touch
that's a
on
choice
the-
program
the
that we got rid of.
classes?
Yeah,
But we should-
if we can
bring that back
expand
up.
The
on,
cost savings for those students?
Blood in, blood out?
I don't think that was brought up. Do you want to wait on that?
The district stopped.
I have
There's
the-
100 and
And
200.
I don't know the reason,
I
but
forget which
know
one was
the
which.
district that did that Stopped it because we were just getting the worst. And
They weren't sending
Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I'm having a hard time in this little youth shape of people figuring out which conversation I'm listening to. I just was hoping maybe we could have one and not three.
Apologize. What are you guys saying on the north side?
There was one going on here and one going on there and one going on here.
Sorry.
Are there any more questions regarding the Holland student?
No.
So if we can expand on the preschool ICR program and the autism program, because I think both of these deserve major accolades for even coming forward. 'Cause
I
this
do
is-
too.
Yeah, this is really
And
big.
Mr. Abramowitz all the way.
Yes, let's give Larry like a
His-
round of
his idea,
applause. This is
um,
fantastic financials.
To bring back some of our students in district because he believes that we can educate our students here in the district. So he is proposing that we have a preschool in-class resource program, so we would have to hire a special education teacher. I don't have the cost analysis in front of me, but I do believe I sent it out to the board with the program. And I guess, again, it's an estimate. It would be an in-class preschool, so we would not need another classroom. We would not need anything additional other than a special education teacher. That would be in the room with, those preschool, students, the preschool student that would need to come back in. I think at the moment, and again, I didn't print it out and bring it with me. I think there was one, do you remember the numbers, Mark? One, I think, is a definite, and he's hoping the second one by the end of the year. So we would start off with 2 students in the preschool room. Is that correct or not?
It sounds.
I might be making that up.
No.
I thought he had one in the preschool
the
room and
preschool.
2
Yes.
in
Okay.
the older. Did you say 1 in the preschool, 2 in the older grade?
I think that it's a 2 pre-Ks are accepted.
I thought 2, I think it's 2 pre-Ks.
Gonna be a long day.
It would be a cost benefit to us
It's going to be.
to get the
The
second.
I thought the
Yes.
preschool in classroom, I'm looking at the Excel spreadsheet now. Preschool in classroom resource was 1 student and potentially a new student. Total class for autism
For preschool.
support looked like 3 students total. I don't know if the 3 students was inclusive of the 1 or was augmented by the other to become 4.
For
I
the
don't-
ICR program, it states that we're projecting 2 preschool
Preschool
students
students.
to be eligible for special ed and related services in February
Mhm.
that will need significant support and services. In addition, there's a special ed preschool student attending in a nearby district's program as a tuition student. So there will be 3 pre-K students who could qualify for the ICR program.
Who could into a current preschool classroom that we have currently. We would not need to open we would not need to open another one. The autism class, we would be opening and we would be starting from ground zero. That would require a classroom. And we do have the classroom space. We've already juggled it all around and we've talked about it ad nauseum. There is definitely 1 student that we could bring back into the district that could start, I believe, in the winter, right after the new year, I think, Mark, if do you remember?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
And there's a possibility of a second one. It's an age thing. We have to wait for the child to turn a birthday because there's only a certain amount of years. Listen, I'm not an expert in this at all, but there's only a certain amount of there's a window that we can only have so many grades in a room, a self-contained room. So I think once that second student's birthday comes, we can bring that student into that program as well. We will also advertise in other districts around us that we would be having an autism program so that they could send their students to us as well, possibly. So it would be a win-win for us if we could get the numbers.
Okay.
Two quick questions on that. There's no funding for these. The idea is that we're funding this through the savings of not sending.
Correct.
It's cost avoidance.
Copy that.
Is the ICR program, is it any classification specific or is it just general special needs?
Yes, for preschool?
Yes.
Yes, as far as I know, that's correct.
So my other question was with the autism classroom, that's 6-year-olds to 10-year-olds, it was 3rd through 5th, I think it was. I don't have concerns with that because they're going to continue on at Franklin. But if we hire for preschool ICR and next year those students are not in pre-K anymore,
They're 3-year-olds.
okay, so we
So
would have at
them
least
again
2
next
years.
year, right?
Okay,
Mhm. And then we would look to have an in-class for kindergarten.
okay.
Could those people carry with them throughout their academic
could.
career? Is that like, would
Yeah.
that would be the plan to?
It could, unless we have others that start and we would need to leave. You mean as far as a special ed teacher?
Yeah,
Unless we have other kids start, we would need an additional.
but we'd be incurring that expense anyway, as they went to general ed.
We're targeting the younger population right now. As they grow to become our middle schoolers, has Larry thought about what that looks like for them?
We have our MD program, so the students can start in the autism program and go to our MD program when they
Okay.
get older. So
So
we have a
they'll be able to
continuous,
work through the entirety of pre-K through 8 at Franklin Township School.
that's what we're hoping.
That would be
Okay.
great.
Is there a limit to the class size for the autism?
Yes, 6,
6. So,
I believe, right?
Mhm.
and then we'd attempt, let's say, I don't want to say advertise these things, but you could send out flyers to other schools to bring in 3 more students.
That's what we're hoping to do.
I hate to be the negative Nelly, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway. How are we gonna ensure that we can retain talent in this program? Because it is a specialized program. We're in a very rural, small space area where finding and retaining talent is not the easiest. What conversations have been had around finding and retaining talent to create continuity for the students that we're bringing back?
It's always a gamble, and we did discuss that as well. We'd hope to bring in the best special education teacher we possibly could with our salary. That's just, it's the best that we can do. There's really no guarantee that we can, even retain someone, hopefully, and we feel hopeful about it, that we would find someone that would fit that role and stay with us. I think we have a pretty good gig here. I think, people are happy. I think the climate is good.
You haven't left us yet.
I mean, I think it's good. So, what we may lack in, salary, we make up in fun. I mean, look at Mark. Who doesn't want to come work here?
Are you having fun, Mark?
Great.
Mark says he's having fun. And then as far as transition of these students into the school, I know there's already been conversations with those parents. Do we need any additional support staff or any additional crutches as those students are moving into the school that are different from what would need to be in place once they're transitioned back? Just to help smooth out that.
No, I think it was on there. Caroline, do you have that? We would need a teacher. I think there's.
It's a
paras that we
teacher,
would
a
need.
para, and a BCBA for 5 hours per week for the
Which we already
autism.
have, the BCBA.
And,
So it'd just be a few additional hours.
and then for ICR, it would be 1 gen ed, 1 special ed, 1 para, and 1 BCBA.
And we already have the gen ed already teaching the preschool class,
So then just 1 special ed, 1 para, and a BCBA.
right, which we already have. the
consultation.
BC Right.
Okay, so we already have the support staff to
Mhm.
help onboard and get everything up and running, where we wouldn't have to hire additional roles, short time or part-time, to just get everything implemented.
We would have to hire.
Implementation,
special ed teacher.
implementation in and of itself is a whole process.
Yes.
The change management process
Yes.
is what I was itching at there. What sort of change management, additional personnel or draw on existing personnel does that look like? Because that'll look different once things are up and running and moving. Getting from 0 to 60 is going to take the support staff to get us to that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're hopeful.
Is the savings, is the amount it's gonna cost for this teacher to the savings of the sending, is that 1-to-1?
No, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars potential savings and cost avoidance that was sketched
Future
out.
cost avoidance.
And we're the sending.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're paying for the sending. Again, I'll make the number up. I'm not quite sure what the number is. It cost 80,000 to send it. Let's just say that. Would the cost of these 2 new faculty members be within that 80,000?
We're talking 200 grand in cost
It's significant.
avoidance.
Or
On-
200,000 in cost?
Transportation.
Transportation in
Oh, that's what
Paris.
the base number is.
No,
It
we're,
depends on where they're going and, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say,
You're talking future.
If you-
talking current.
if you look at the current costs that are shared with you in the Excel spreadsheets that were shared, we're spending $500,000. And we're saying that we can educate for around 300,000. So if
We're
we are
currently
spending,
We're spending $500,000 on
yes,
autism sending. I don't know, I'm not quite sure the numbers are lining up. I don't understand that. For
You
one student?
no,
No,
not
for the
for
three.
one
This
student.
program is for, we're talking about 2 students.
We're gonna-
We're
So
talking,
with
I'm
one
looking
student,
at a
is it definite?
spreadsheet that
Yes.
says,
Yes.
And we need 2 to make the program work?
We would need 2 to make the program work, and Mr. Abramowitz feels strongly that the second one would be here by the end of the winter.
I'm looking at a spreadsheet that says for 3 students that we are spending over $500,000.
Yeah.
And,
But my question is. those-
and in that spreadsheet, it's set in, this is literally the spreadsheet for the autism justification
For
financially.
currently, for now.
We're spending over $500,000 in the cost of educating 3 students out of district. What I'm looking at here says we can do so in district for 375, saving us over $200,000. It's in your inbox. If that's not true, then I'm gonna have a really hard time saying
Question
yes to
I'm
this
asking
because
is-
I'm voting on this based on a lot of research and the documentation that I looked into before this meeting.
Okay. I'll ask you
If this
finance.
is, if
The
we're
question I'm
going
asking is,
squishy on these numbers, or we're not feeling like this is accurate, we can have a conversation, but I need us to have that conversation before I vote yes based on a $200,000 potential projected savings. I
We
need us
wouldn't
to
bring
have
it
that
to you
conversation.
If we didn't think that there was gonna be a cost savings.
Okay. You look very, you
I
said
think
you're
your
very
mathematics makes no
skeptical.
sense to me. If we start this autism program for February, we will be lining ourselves up with $300,000 less of expenditures.
200,000 is what's being,
200.
yep,
If,
200 grand.
if only 2 out of the 3 kids.
Well, no, what I'm looking at is all 3 have to come back. in
But
order for
the
us to
thing that
get
I'm
there.
saying is it could be 1 kid for 40, 1 kid for 40, and another kid for 200. That's what I'm asking.
Let me, all right,
I think
Hold
we
on.
could just take a look at the spreadsheet that I
Take a-
had sent
yeah.
out. Larry did a really great job
I took a look at the
breaking
spreadsheet.
it out.
and let me ask, like,
You didn't like it.
let
I
me
disagree with
ask,
the math that you presented, so I'm trying to understand
Oh,
the math.
okay, I do want you to look at the spreadsheet and look at the math, because I don't want you to say yes to this if you don't feel good about the math.
Oh, no, I'm behind it
I do have-
100% even in theory.
I do have a
I
different
just try to find out the
question, though.
numbers is what I'm trying to understand. Is if of the 3 kids that we're currently spending 250K on, if we bring 2 of them
575.
into our own autism program, there will be a savings of 250.
We are
generated on
spending
that?
575 on 3, and we are projected to save 200.
So it's 570, so what was it?
575 times 3.
Across the 3 of them.
Correct. 200 total savings after all is said and done. So we're still gonna spend 375. Well, we're not gonna spend 575, we're gonna spend
Okay,
375.
oh, that I understand.
Okay.
Do you get it? Yeah,
I do want to ask one additional question
Great.
that's not financially related. It's who gets to make the decision that these students can be brought back in district? Is this Larry's decision that
The
we are
child study
equipped
team.
to do so?
The child study team will
Okay.
make the recommendation.
Okay,
He meets with the school that the students are currently attending along with the parents
Mhm.
and makes the recommendation to bring them back in district.
Okay, and so it's a collaborative discussion. And
It is.
I'm kind of, that's what I'm getting at, is that we're not just saying, hey, we want to save money. We
No,
do want to save money, but we don't want to save money at the sacrifice of anybody's education.
agreed.
So I just wanted to ask you that question to make it clear that this is a collaborative conversation
Most definitely.
with the teams that are currently working with these students, with their parents, and with Barry to make sure that the transition back in district
Yes.
is sufficient and acceptable.
Correct.
Thank you.
And the hires wouldn't be made until the second child already agreed to be in the program?
No. Because either program would need the teacher. So if we're talking the preschool program, we need a special ed teacher to be in that classroom. And if we're talking the autism program, we need a teacher for the classroom.
So is there a
Because
universe
it's
where we
not
could get?
started yet, so we don't even have anybody.
Fair enough. I guess the question is, would we ever be in a position where we hired someone and then the second student who is needed to make this program activated and they say they're not going to do it, or
Sure.
they would, but we'd be able to exit out of that hire?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to give it more time to see if we could advertise and find other students. I wouldn't collapse it right away.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Your concern is that we make the hire, we don't realize the savings.
We don't make the hire, we're not realizing the savings,
Yeah.
maybe a better way of saying it.
Yeah,
Another-
the cost avoidance is lost in translation as we lose students along the way.
But the risk is mitigated by the fact we could unwrap it if we find out. we don't-
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Beyond cost savings, which is important, the district has an obligation for all special ed students to put them in the least restrictive environment, which would be this in-district school.
Off the
So if
bus.
it's 50-50, it's going to tilt towards staying in district because that's our obligation for least restrictive.
Yeah,
Now, how does the conversation change if we are pulling from other districts? Does that become a revenue situation? Seemingly pretty significant.
Are there any other schools within Hunterdon County that's close that has this program that we'd be competing against?
Yes.
there are, yeah.
Significant amount?
Do you have those listed?
I don't have the names of them. I believe there are 3
Within,
in Hunterdon County.
okay.
So my comment would be, and we brought this up a while ago, I guess part of Larry's approach, it's excellent, but part of his approach should also be, instead of us trying to be everything to everybody, is there some kind of synergies or specializations that some of the sending districts in North can have? Like maybe ours is the autism MMD, maybe somebody else is the dyslexia center. So it's hard to be really good at everything and us to have the space and the right staff. But if we could maybe collaborate with and plan with the other sending districts to have specialization areas, maybe that would be something a little longer term that takes planning, but it might realize a little bit more cost savings, higher quality programs, that sort of thing. It might make more sense than us just trying to do everything.
Yeah, I'll certainly mention it to him.
Do we have numbers on enrollment in those other programs and capacity?
In the other districts, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
the
I'll get that.
success of those programs.
Mhm.
The one thing you just said, Allison, that what you're saying makes sense if we were like a collaborative county district, but I'm just speaking, it seems like so many of these schools' business model is to design to not send. So you have control over the cost. Am I right about that, Mark, in the way that I'm saying that? Like there's a savings in keeping, not sending. There's a control over the expenditures, right?
I'm over 5 years in Hunterdon County,
Yeah.
and my experience is the special ed supervisors of the districts do talk to each other to say, hey, do you have a program that could take this? Because I don't want to send it to this private school, which will cost a lot more. So I know there is discussion.
I think
Oh, to
the
talk about a
first,
larger, but that's
yeah.
very cool.
but I think the first goal is not to send to private because private's the most
100%.
expensive option,
Mhm.
right? If there's an option in district, best, but if there's an option in a local district, I would think that's also a cost savings. And my point too is maybe there's there's advantageous or advantages in scale. So if you had 10 dyslexia students all at one school, maybe that is actually a cost savings than sending those dyslexia students to like 5 different places. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
It
In the
could,
whole.
or it might not at all, but my ask would just be for Larry to continue to talk, and maybe there's something there.
Yeah. No, I think the program's a fantastic idea. There's just a practical implication to, none of these districts are on the same team. There's a presentation of that we're all working together, right? But the school that has the best program is the one that's getting the sending money. And until that's kind of broken, there's no advantages for some of these schools to work together outside of, well, I'll send them to you, so I don't have to send them to.
That's
private
specifically
schools.
why I asked about capacity, because I think there's a very good chance that some of these programs are. maxed
At
out.
capacity?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea too. No, I'm all about the autism program.
Yeah, and I will say, even though we think about these schools as being different from Franklin Township School, my kids have friends at Union Township School. My kids have friends at Bethlehem. My kids have friends at Clinton. Between the sports programs and the other times that they find themselves in social situations outside of Franklin Township School, going back to what Caroline was saying about putting kids in the least restrictive environment, giving them access to their peers. I love the friends that my children have at Clinton, at Union, at Bethlehem because of their sports and because of their social activities. So there's some real value in that. If we can move children from one school to another where they'll be amongst peers that they'll see at sports games and they'll see around town when they're going to get an ice cream scoop, that is truly, it's offering an opportunity for those kids to feel like a part of their community in a way that's different from sending them an hour away to a school that has kids funneling from an hour in all different directions. And I really, if we have the opportunity to bring kids in district that are currently out of district, if we have the opportunity to have these conversations with schools that are offering services that we are not, and we're able to give those kids a chance to not be an hour away. Some of these schools that we're sending to are quite far. And they're not making the friendships and they're not building the relationships that they would probably prefer to be building when they're that far distance wise, 5 days a week for 7 hours a day, plus travel time.
And we even heard from a number of neighboring districts that send here how much they love Franklin. So I'm sure it goes both ways, right? So
Yeah,
I think as much as we say we don't work together, those parents showing up to our meetings advocating for their kids for the wonderful program that we have, that we are working together in a way.
yeah. Could we do better? Probably always. And should we always be looking for those opportunities? Yes. But you're right. That was a really good outpouring of folks that were reliant on our sense from their districts.
Okay, I'm just talking financially. It's when it comes to the districts in Hunterdon County, these are, I'll make the number up, 15 competing companies. And well, we are in education and there's always this idea of we're all working together. The reality of it is the capital that comes with the kids. The reason they put these programs in is to help their neighbors in other districts. It's in order to control the cost of sending and to open up revenue for receiving. The feelings that they generate in the community is secondary to the financials of the program. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but
If there was an organized county plan for each district where Franklin's gonna handle this, forgive me on the term, disability,
Mhm.
and Clinton will handle this one. If that was mandated, that would totally make sense to what you're saying, but I'm just talking about the underlying revenue sources. None of these schools would give up their program in order for Franklin to take over that avenue because of the amount of revenue they could use.
I don't think that's true, because Union Township, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows different, I think they got rid of their MMD program, or at least maybe the older students. And not long ago, they didn't want to deal with it. It was generating revenue. They send those students here and to other places now. They made a strategic decision to get rid of that program for, I don't know exactly what issues they were having, but they made a strategic decision. I do think that what Jen and Larry showed is that even if we don't bring in out-of-district students, bringing our students back here is enough of a cost savings or cost avoidance, as you said, Colleen, to justify it even without getting extra revenue streams from other students.
I agree with that.
There was a public comment a few months ago about someone telling us to research this as a revenue source. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 months ago, but yeah, it was an out-of-district parent.
Well, and I think we could do better in the future. In 2026, as we consider board goals, I think one of those should be that we should plan on doing a more intentional job around building relationships with the sending districts that send to North. We've started that conversation in the past, but I don't think that we've sufficiently moved it forward, or at least not to an extent that is clear to me. And if it's not clear to me, I'm sure it's not clear to the community. So I think 2026 as a board goal, we really should be working towards building relationships with the surrounding districts and ensuring that we are sharing information about what our programs can offer and preventing folks from sending their children out of district unless they absolutely have to, just because of unawareness about our program or overlaps unnecessarily. If we're building an autism program, Union doesn't have to because they're a drive away, right? We haven't done a great job of that.
You guys
so
had me at
far.
revenue source.
So we're good. But I really do think that that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to pursue in 2026 is how do we share information better amongst boards?
Okay, there's no further discussion. Can we get a motion to vote on A through F? In a second. Thank you. And the roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Cummins,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yeah.
Mrs. Luciano,
Yes.
Mr. Metz,
Yes.
Mr. Norton,
Yes.
Mrs. LaQuinto,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you. Policy and personnel.
Y'all are gonna have a long night if we have as much conversation about policy and personnel as we did. All right, we have some staff appointments. If anyone has questions, please do post those. I'll defer to Mrs. Aquino for any questions around those. We do have an employee resignation, and with regret, we will be accepting Sean Hayes's resignation. I don't know why that word is bothering me tonight. But he will still maintain his connection to the school as a substitute custodian while he pursues his education further. So we accept with regret, but also with excitement for what he is looking to move forward to do. We have some leave of absences. We have a volunteer that we are approving tonight. We have our school play for the spring already in the works and volunteers that we are approving. And we are officially doing the first reading of the board policy that we talked about last month, and that was shared the previous month in anticipation of last month's discussion around our corporate sponsorship. So that's our outcome from policy and personnel this month. Any questions?
A big applause for Mr. Kramer receiving his extension through June 30th.
I'm so glad you
To
said that.
remain.
6
Look
months.
how excited he
He
is.
is
Look at
easily-
him.
He is bursting at the
I'm so
seams of
excited.
excitement.
Jen sent this out, and I think my response to you was, this was the best news I have gotten all week or all day. Whatever I said, I was like, yes. Yes, we get to,
Mark's so
I'm
happy.
so sorry you have to stick with us, but I'm so glad we get to keep you.
He just wanted one more budget season.
Yeah, well, it's always fun.
You can be an unpaid consultant too, just heads up for the future.
Matt's already trying to keep you
Beyond
until
June, you could always
2028.
just do this for free. Okay.
His face.
Did you just say free?
We
He really is all about the
We'll
bucks,
send you to a
right?
different school and make money off of you. The one thing I did want to point out are the high school volunteers for the play. I got the pleasure of working with them last year, and all 5 of them are really great kids. And especially if it's not the right same kid, William,
Mhm.
I'm not going to
Same
butcher
kid.
his last name. I will work for him someday in Broadway. If he asks about me, tell him I said good things. Because I have pension hours I need to work for. But he's a great dude, and it's a great team.
I was gonna ask about the same thing. Are they all former Franklin students?
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, they deserve a lot of credit. And be honest with you, I'm working lighting and television shows for over 20 years. And I don't know his age. I don't want to insult him. The 16-year-old makes me look like a fool. He's an impressive young man. And but I'm just zoning into that one guy. It should be recognized and should be said out loud as many times as possible because he makes a lot of it happen.
Okay.
Nobody else. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for their accolades. I do enjoy it here. As I
Good to
said,
keep
I
you.
think we have a very good board. I love the staff that we have, and we're going from great to greater.
Oh, that's cute work.
So you'll be writing that book and she'll be asking everyone to read it next year, right?
He's trying to make up for the movie in his calendar today.
Did you have a don't talk to me, I'm not willing to be spoken to out of office message all day?
Yeah.
All right, so if we can get a motion for A through F under policy and personnel. And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Cummings,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Mrs. Luciano,
Yes.
Mr. Metz,
Yes.
Mr. Norton,
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinko,
Yes,
passes.
thank you. Township?
Not much to report from the township. There was discussion of a plate reading camera at Walmart to help with amber alerts and silver alerts. There was talk of a cell phone tower, not much that applied to the school. They laid some people off. The QES was approved for a bankruptcy attorney at $600 an hour, and the building, the former administrative building was sold at auction at $350K. And they did some reorganization within inside their police department, it sounds like, but that's as far as I could gather from where I was sitting. And a cell phone tower, but I did speak up for everyone. It's Verizon, but I said it should have bandwidth for T-Mobile because I have T-Mobile. Don't make that face about T-Mobile. I see.
Where are they putting it? This is absolutely not board business. Where are they putting the tower?
The tower is being discussed at the new township building in the back.
Okay.
I
I just need to make sure I tell my daughter where it is because she likes to find the trees that people who've never seen trees.
Oh, where they tried making it look like a tree.
Yeah.
This might be a
She's like,
pole. There was
that
a lot of
looks like
conversation.
somebody that never saw a tree in their life just said, I think that's what a tree looks like.
It was gonna
And I need to
generate,
let her know where the new one's gonna be so she can clock in.
it was gonna generate $40,000 of income revenue to the township. And I said if the township decided not to do it, that the school, we have 40 acres in the back, maybe we try getting that revenue source if they don't go for it. But that's the conversation. I know people hate their cell phone towers, but they also hate one bar.
I'm okay with it as long as it looks like a tree because I cannot have that child come home every day and tell me some guy who never saw a tree built a tree in my schoolyard.
100 feet tall.
Yep. That looks like someone.
That's it.
That looks
Other
like a
than that,
tree
there
no one
wasn't
ever saw a
much
tree would build.
applied to us.
I think I had mentioned to you, but the second meeting was canceled again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. ESC did not meet, correct?
No.
Okay. New business, none that I know of. Public comment. All comments should be directed to the board president. The board will not respond to complaints from and to school personnel unless the chain of command has been followed without satisfaction. Furthermore, the board cannot respond to any complaints from the public directed at any district employee or student, as the board must protect each employee's and each student's right to privacy. Those wishing to share comments during this board meeting are asked to sign and register at the podium and state their name, place of residence, and group affiliation if applicable. Public comment shall be concise and to the point, and shall not contain abusive, defamatory, or obscene language. Each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes. No takers? And we don't have executive, right?
We do not.
We do not have executive session.
You're
welcome.
Are we recognizing the truth here? That's part of our agenda.
I believe they're observing.
Supposed to sit quiet.
Would you gentlemen like to present anything?
Introduce
No?
yourself, maybe say what they rank here, the truth you're part of. And now just put you on the floor.
No, you don't have to. If you don't, if you're not prepared to and you don't have to. But to your point, maybe we as a board can say thank you to the Boy Scouts for coming, observing, and learning tonight.
How exciting was it?
They want to go.
You have to be
They wanna
18
go
to run to be on the
sometime.
board.
They want to leave.
Yeah, no,
Sir, please.
civil action and civil service is not the most exciting thing on earth sometimes. But thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Mhm. Okay, so,
Are you all like Scouts?
oh, yeah.
Star?
No, you,
Eagle.
First class. Good. All first class? I know you're a Star Scout, right? How about you in the back? Like, my man.
Nice. One last thing I just want to mention is that Mrs. Kastner took our choir students to North today to do a local song. Is that, I mean, what do you call that? A song that they learned there and performed there all within, I don't know, 3 hours, maybe? And it was amazing. It was amazing. Well done.
21 students, was it attended?
21 today, and I think it's 24 tomorrow.
And we had the most students there that showed. All the elementary schools were invited. We had the most and we did the best.
That says a lot considering our size.
Just
So,
saying.
thank you for representing the
Yes, thank you.
arts. in
Great,
Franklin.
great job.
Last question before we close out. Did everybody get addressed any difficult behavior or was that just me? I'm just kidding.
I got that at school boards and I thought I'd share it.
Oh, thank you. I did miss the first 15 minutes, so just wasn't sure if it was just me.
I think you put this out.
It was a fair statement, but
Saying that.
What was that? What was the exercise with this? Just so we all knew what type of animals we are?
I personally.
Find
like
your triggers, don't
self-assessments,
call
and
me.
I saw this as a self-assessment. I sat in it down at New Jersey School Boards. It was a self-assessment. I thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd share it.
Thank you, Mark.
thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
And maybe I can learn a little bit from it.
What would you consider yourself?
I think we all
Consider
could.
yourself off the sheet.
I try to be a poker face.
Poker face. I prefer the Sherman tank.
All right. The next board meeting is rescheduled for Monday, December 22nd at
Not shocked.
6:30. And if I can get a motion to adjourn? Seconded?
Second,
8, okay, all in favor?
I.
All opposed? All abstentions? 8:18 including. Thank
Thank
you
you,
everyone
everyone.
for attending.
Thank you.
Great job.
Mark, I need that form so I can submit it.